To everybody out there, hello, hola, Konnichiwa, Salaam, Ciao Namaste. Peace to all. This is the pink elephant in the room conversation. And what we are discussing for today is simply about why it is important for humanity to evolve in today's society. Now, the reason why it's so important in the first place for us to evolve is because what you see on your planet does not help you. For example, before I even get into that, if you feel this resonates with you in any way, don't hesitate to tap to leave hearts, and if you have anything to say to add to the conversation, please do not hesitate. This is a conversation between all of us being one and understanding the world around us and being aware of everything around us. And without further ado, let's begin with the simple fact of our environment itself. You see, we put gases and all sorts of fumes inside our air that harm us, and this shows that we don't understand how important our own environment is to us. Your environment is simply where you live. And that's pretty simple to observe, that this is simply where you live, and taking care of it is to take care of yourself. And the reason why I say that is for you to be as healthy as you need to be in this world, or better yet, as you desire to be in this world. You need clean air system. You need to make sure that your entire environment isn't poisoned. Your many water supplies are poisoned. The air is poisoned, and many of the things we cut down are what help us give oxygen. You see, for example, we cut down trees not realizing that the trees we are cutting down provide oxygen for you. Now, the trees personally don't need what you have. You give back carbon dioxide. However, trees can keep going without it because there's plenty of carbon dioxide in the air, but there is a little less of oxygen in the air. You could simply change this by growing trees, especially when we're talking about in different rainforests and forests alike, to simply shift that equation. But because we feel in a sense that we're comfortable where we're at, that there's no need to change it because everything's fine, in a sense, or for the simple fact that most of us, including myself when I was younger, were not aware of it, will do nothing to change the cycle of what we do in today's everyday life. To evolve is to understand as a whole how important all of you are to each other and how you work upon each other. We have not gotten to that point due to the fact of how we look at each other. We see each other as separate due to color, due to sex, due to sexuality, due to ideology, due to status. We see all these areas, and matter of fact, we even see each other separate from each other, give or take where we live in the world. And none of that is very important when you have to realize that as a whole, the only thing that can change in this world is when you are willing to help each other. These countries shouldn't really personally exist, but they do, because of the fact we have not grown past our ideology of separation. We use it by guarding other countries, believing you need permits to go to different countries, when even back before even our time as of now in the 21st century, none of that existed the way it did. This only has happened about a few 5,000 to 7,000 years ago, where this has existed, where we have built countries, where we have built industries to create work and so on and so forth, and go by the saying, the rich get richer while the poor get poorer. we've gone by these sayings not thinking to ourselves of how we can work with each other. We look out for ours and ours alone due to our intentions of what we feel is important. This is what I would say would be considered as a primitive society. And I being included in part of this, because to surpass or get past that means seeing past separation, seeing past greed as a means to get more money. There's nothing wrong with making money, but the fact of doing harm to someone or cheating someone in order for them not to have a fair advantage as yourself, which is shown in today's society, creates the reasoning as to why you show signs of primitive ideologies that do not benefit any of us. So then the question would be, well, then how do we go to evolving? How do we get past this? And lucky right now, the most beautiful thing is, as I'm speaking, there are billions of people, not millions, but billions of people who are evolving. However, we are still learning and understanding how to get past our belief systems and love each other as a whole. That's a big thing, and it's amazing that that's happening right now. To evolve past that, like I said, the first thing you need to understand is unity. Being united. Now, that does not mean that you are all the same person like automatons in a sense, but working with each other under fair grounds and caring for even the most smallest person to the most biggest and strongest person. Just like with countries. There wouldn't have to be countries if for the people that lived in a certain area, for the smallest person who lived in an area to the biggest person, if we were all as a whole willing to help out people. You could simply help out people by, and even I still have to practice this. One thing I am a stickler for is wasting food. I do not personally like wasting food. It hurts my heart because I've worked in an industry where I watched people waste food. They would eat only a few pieces of their food and they would waste the rest. They wouldn't even take it home, and that's what even upset me even more is I understand you paid your money for this meal, but you would think not to waste what you bought when there are many people out there who do not have the same chance. You see, there's a large percentage of people who have that same ideology. They have enough of everything, but yet it's wasted instead of given to the whole. This does not mean, however, you can't get any of this that is given to you. You have to decide and choose for that yourself. However, observation shows that many of the biggest people, the most biggest part of the population, are given less than the mightiest few who have the wealth to do whatever they want and waste whatever they want. And wasting these things does not help the whole. It destroys your planet, but not only your planet, it destroys you as a civilization and not allowing yourself to grow past simply understanding who you are. That to hurt someone else and make sure that they're not fed, no matter where they are. There are people, of course, we hear all the time, they're starving in different countries across the world. This shows what you see in others, you see in yourself. And I've said that before, because if you're starving others, it's because you're starving yourself to change. That one part of you that is beneficial to who you are as a person. The second thing is realizing that there is no need to harm a person under any circumstances unless they are using what I would consider true killing force. And many people will twist and contort the idea of what that means. But there is always a way, there is always another way to change a situation at hand, and you have to decide to change that. Instead, many people who have disagreements with certain people because of either the fear, the panic, the rage, or sometimes chronic depression, sometimes even more than that. And these are unnatural emotions that I've talked about on YouTube. I have a whole entire list of it in a playlist if you want to check it out on Soulology. But going through these emotions allows you to have an ideology of harming others, creating war with others, using killing force against people. This is not really necessary to who we are as a person. This does not allow the soul to be able to experience who they are fully. Instead, what it does is allow the soul to have to start this over again and again and again, instead of allowing itself to evolve past this. Harming someone does nothing for anyone, because what it says is you are harming yourself in the process. You have to realize that to harm that one person is really to genuinely harm you. And this isn't some fantastical thing I'm saying, in a sense. This isn't something imaginary I'm saying. You are connected to each other because you are energy, like energy in different individuality. And because of that, you have to realize that you are simply harming yourself in the process. When we get past the fact of harming people and learn how to build on each other and be fair and care for each other, care for one another, we will grow past where we desire to go. On top of that, being fair to people is the biggest part, because fairness should be allowed for the simple fact of allowing people to do whatever they desire to do in their life. You have certain people who, give or take your nationality in a sense, well, there are specific jobs that we believe that go to these type of people, and these type of people, when none of that should even exist. You see, you call yourselves black, you call yourselves white, you call yourselves Latino, you call yourselves Indian, you call yourselves Asian, you call yourself European. What you're doing is using separation. You're calling yourself all these things except for the one thing you truly are: the human race. There is no difference from you from anyone else, because you're all the same thing, all in different colors. By being fair to one another, you would see an increase in, whether it be technology or other ideas, and how to work with people to sustain that, how to work with people, because you're going to have people who are going to do things that aren't so good, but how to work with others on making sure people are protected as one and understanding each other, observing each other. And fourth thing would be the laws. We have many laws in different countries that are per se to protect you, in a sense, when the ideology should be you should be the one who creates the laws of what you desire, your own principles. Laws shouldn't exist, because what they do is, the funny thing about laws is, no matter what, there is always a loophole that is meant for someone else intentionally, and this does not benefit the whole. There is no real reason for laws but to understand and piece what's important and to understand what's not important. You see, we believe, many of us believe, in a sense, that humans are naturally born evil or something, or bad. And I hate to tell you, a child will never ever come out that way. That being said, if that is the case, you have to realize, just simply through observation, that that is not innately who you are as a person. You are taught those things due to generations upon generations upon generations upon generations of people who have constantly taught you this ideology of making you believe that is the case, instead of seeing your highest good of who you are as a person. You can do amazing things when you are your most high of who you are. You're most loving, you're most kind, you're most gentle, you're most meek, you're most willing to care for people. You have that ability to truly do that. However, due to what's been put in front of you constantly and consistently, and on top of that, the media that's put on you, the visual effects through, and it, one way or another, it's being aware of these things, by the way, comic books, video games, TV shows, and other things that visually affect you in a sense and morph your mind to believe certain things, is the reason why we have this innate feeling of doing these things. You see different colors, different things, different screenings, different ways to prep your mind to believe in certain ideologies or certain things is what makes you believe in part of this. You see the world as it is because you see other people, and what you have to realize is to evolve past that is seeing the light past that. Willing to be your own light, no matter how difficult the situation is. There are so many things that are going on in the world, and personally for me, I laugh because what you may not realize about yourself is all the things you think are horrible in the world, you can literally change it by changing your mind. It's an incredible act. Actually, it's not even an act, but an incredible power of who you are as a person. By simply, for example, in my own experience, certain things that have happened, certain events that were supposed to happen around the world or in the country I even live in America, where certain things were supposed to happen, and because, for example, I would meditate on it, or I simply, even if I'm aware of it, would not care or have a concern for it because I didn't believe it existed. It doesn't mean I'm not aware of it. I've already observed it, like I said, but I believe it doesn't exist, so it does not matter. Because I don't believe it matters, and the more I focus on the fact that out of sight, out of mind, it does not exist, it's gone like a ghost, that is exactly what happens to it. And I've seen this on numerous occasions where certain things that are supposed to happen eventfully around the world do not happen. Something stopped it. That is how amazing you are. When you look past everything to that point, you will truly see something incredible. That you can get past anything in the world. And it all starts with you first. And deciding from here on out that you want to change your environment and observe it. The most important thing, like I said, and I'm sorry I didn't say it just now, is to observe everything around you. Observe what is affecting your entire environment, to observe what you can grow with yourself in understanding who you are as a person. Most people do not understand that because most of us do not observe. We say we observe, but we never truly do. And me, in my experience, I have had that same situation where I did not observe. When I started really observing people for who they are, I realized that there were things that I personally could not say about a person because I do not know them. And I had no right to tell them who I thought they were or anything because I didn't know who they were. For all I know, even if they're mean, they're your manager or something like that, you don't know their life. Even if it's a person on the street who you think is trash because they're homeless, you don't know what got them there. Even if it's a person who doesn't fit in, but you think they're a horrible person and this and that, you don't know what their life is about or what they're feeling. To judge someone is not something we truly have a right to do. So you have to look past this and understand your entire environment and the people that live on it to see the beauty, to see how amazing you all are, to see the divinity, to see that you all are the gods, the goddesses, and the creators within. So to everybody out there, have a good morning, have a great afternoon, and a fantastic fantastic evening. Namaste.